That Washington football team is really fucking good.
Everything we do is going to be about winning. Okay, we're going to learn to do things the right way, and that's the only way we're going to do them. Because if it doesn't help us, we're not doing it, man. That's just as simple as it gets. Win the Super Bowl. That's I mean it, too. You know, one of the things that the only reason you become a head coach in this league, in my opinion, is to win. That's it. That's the bottom line. If you do it for any other reason, you're wrong.
Hey, Washington football fans, welcome back. Sorry it's been a while. I was a little under the weather, but I'm back now. Got another video for you. My last video was a huge, sprawling video about rebuilding our team in a more immediate way using free agency. But this video, I wanted to see what I could do in a mock draft. And like always, I love the idea of bringing local talent to the team. So I thought I'd do a mock draft with only players from DC, Maryland, and Virginia. When I realized how talented this class was, I did some trade jujitsu to get as many mid-round picks as I could so I could fill a lot of the outgoing players that we have in free agency. And we have 25 players going out. So using PFN's mock draft simulator, I was able to end up with 18 draft picks. Talk about a haul. That's got to be a record since we dropped down from 12 rounds. It's got to be rare. Now, I know this is very unrealistic. I just did it so I could highlight as many local talents as possible in positions we might need. And there's also a good bit of local players that I think will go undrafted that I think we should give a tryout afterwards. You know, these should be priority undrafted free agents to, you know, maybe help the team or at least make the practice squad. So enough yapping. Let's get this thing on the road. First off, I started out the draft with a trade back from 9. I traded the 9th pick and 2023's 3rd round pick for the Browns 16, 47, and 78. Then when I got back to 16, I traded it to the Packers for their 32nd, 64th, and 96th. So, we got back to 32, the last pick in the 1st round, and I selected Penn State linebacker Brandon Smith. Raised in Louisa, Virginia, he was 2018 Gatorade Player of the Year in Virginia. He was a 5-star recruit, made Bruce Feldman's Freaks list. This guy is a monster at the linebacker position. He's 6'3", 240 pounds. He played the overhang role last year, great in coverage. This year he moved up and took over Micah Parsons' spot. He can be a thumper. He also excels in coverage. This guy does it all. He does it all well at a high level of athleticism. And I think he's a must-have in this draft. Our linebacking core is still awful. And depending on his combine, which he'll probably, I think he's going to put up great numbers, but he's still around a late 1st, early 2nd rounder. And I really think we should go after this guy. He goes a long way to fixing our linebacker position. And like I said, these are all local prospects. So this is a homer. So let's keep him at home and start reclaiming some of those guys at Penn State. Penn State loves the guys from the DMV, let me tell you. And that takes me to our 2nd pick. Back at pick 40, another guy that Penn State grabbed out of the DMV, Arnold Ebiketie I'm not sure about how to pronounce his name. He's 6'3", 265 pounds, from Silver Spring, Maryland. He was a 3-star recruit. Now, this is a deep draft if you're looking for edge rushers, and we've shown interest in adding, quality depth to strengthen up our line behind Chase and Montez. And with their injuries kind of hammering it home, I think it would be a good move to add a high-level edge rusher to go along with them in rotation. Now, a lot of fuss was made about our team scouting Jermaine Johnson down at FSU, the transfer to FSU. And so I know we're looking for an upgrade there, for the rotation. And it's not something that I think we want to spend a first rounder on. I think Johnson shows that. He's kind of like projected as a second round talent. But so is Arnold. And it just so happens, he's a solid prospect. He transferred to Penn State, the bigger school, and then took off with, the better competition. He's gone off this season. He's got 9.5 sacks and 17 tackles for a loss. He's just an all-around destructive force in the backfield. He's long-armed. He's strong, twitchy. He's got great speed to power moves, good lateral movement, good pursuit, great with his hands. He's got a good bull rush. He's got a high motor, always trying to make the play, always trying to get to the ball. He had a 91.8 pass rushing grade through the first 10 weeks from PFF, and that was tied for 4th best out of all Power 5 schools. He's just a great all-around edge defending prospect. Could be a huge sleeper. He's a local guy. With the depth of this class, we probably get a shot at him, maybe even into the 3rd round. But 2nd round, definitely. That's why I traded for the extra picks. Definitely somebody we should be looking at. Then we get to our next pick at 47, and I traded that and a 2023 4th to the Chargers for their 53rd and 84th pick this year. And with that 53rd pick, our 3rd pick overall, once again, I reclaim one of our local players from Penn State with Rasheed Walker, offensive tackle from Waldorf, Maryland, 6'6", 325 pounds, another former 4-star recruit. Actually, that's our first 4-star. We had a 5-star and a 3-star. This is our first 4-star. He's got all the size and athleticism to be a franchise left tackle, and the short area quickness, flexibility, all that to go along with it. He's got good feet. He's got good bend, good technique. He's got a good punch and a good anchor. He was looked at as a first-round prospect coming into this season. But with a lot of risers and him taking a bit of bumps, he slid a bit. But he could still be the perfect addition to help our offensive line get younger. He's a very talented player. Like I said, he's got all the physical tools. We're going to be moving Cosme to left tackle. We slot Rasheed Walker in at right tackle, start him just right away like we did with Cosme. I'm sure he'd hit the ground running too and really give us a set of bookends that would carry us into the future. Rasheed Walker is definitely a great prospect. With our 4th pick, 64th overall, staying at home at Maryland. I'm going to take free safety, all-around safety, Nick Cross. He's from Bowie, Maryland, 6'1", 215 pounds, 4-star recruit, track star. He's 63rd overall on PFF's big board so far. He also made PFF's top 10 breakout prospects before the season. Cross is a track star that ran a 4.48 coming out of high school, even at 208 pounds. Now he's 215. You usually gain a tenth or so. You get faster as you mature. So this guy has all the speed and range to play deep free safety at a very high level, but he has the strength and size to drop down the box and smack heads. He's a freak athlete. He's gotten better and better every year. Just could solve all of our problems at the free safety position. I like Derek Forrest as a developmental player, but I think Cross has a lot more potential athletically, along with being closer to starter quality already. I think Cross, we could put him in over the top. First of all, he's already solid all around from a technique and instinct standpoint. But even if he does struggle, he's got the freak athleticism to make up for it. So he could be high impact right away, but a super deep safety class. Safeties are kind of devalued. That's why I had him here as our 4th pick. And then, speaking of devalued positions, with our 5th pick at pick 71, also from in Maryland, Dontay Demus Jr., wide receiver from DC, 6'3", 217 pounds. He's the type of long, tall, speedy wide receiver with a big catch radius that we're missing. You know, there have been a ton of starter quality wide receivers coming out of their drafts in the past few years, and it's slightly devalued the position. Demus was ranked about 9th in all the wide receivers coming out in the draft before he got a leg injury this year. But if he returns to health, which I think he should, he'll slide a bit, probably 3rd, maybe 4th round. That's where we get him, and he'd be a great addition. Like, he's a very talented prospect, and he fills exactly what we are missing in the wide receiving core. That long, fast, big catch radius wide receiver. And he's from DC. You can't get better than that. So, again, a little draft jiu-jitsu swapping 78 and 187 to the Bengals for 81 and 120. Just trying to stay up in that middle. I'm not way down in day 3 there. Just trying to get up a little higher. So, with our 6th pick, at pick 81, Virginia Tech, cornerback. Can never go wrong with that. Jermaine Waller. He's a 3-star recruit, born in DC, raised in Bethesda, 6'1", 185 pounds. He was a former quarterback, and he uses those skills to read quarterbacks and be a ball hawk. He had a 73.5 PFF grade this year so far, and a 62.8 passer rating allowed, and the 4th highest man coverage grade in 2019, and at 78.2. He also had a 57.6 passer rating allowed last year, or no, 2019, I'm sorry. But another stat I really liked about him is that he had the best forced incompletion rating at a 31.4, which means if he's contesting a pass, they're not getting it. He's knocking it away, he's taking it away most of the time, and he contested a lot of passes. So he's good all around in zone. He's good in man, really good in man. Solid in press coverage. He was on the other side of the field with quarterbacks thrown away from Caleb Farley last season. So you gotta think about that when you look at his some of his stats there, is that he was getting targeted all the time because Caleb Farley was a can't miss, first round prospect at the time, and he was getting this heavy dose and he was still holding it down over there. He's super talented, local cornerback, and he's probably going to slide a bit in a deep class because of his weight. He might be 185, more around 180. But I think he is a much needed piece to help shore up our secondary. He's got a lot of skill. You just watch this guy. He's an NFL cornerback, a starting NFL cornerback. If you watch him play, I think he's one of my favorite corners in the draft. But this is a very deep corner draft. So we could get this guy third or fourth, like third round, feeling good about it. He's there. I would definitely pick him up, just like we did with Ben St. Juice last year. Add him to the group. And I think he, just like Ben St. Juice, he could come out and start right away. But we need a lot of help in the secondary. So he definitely would go a long way to helping out there. Then again, I swap picks again. I swap 84, 227, and 2023's 5th to the Bucks for 88, 126, and 166. Because like I said, we definitely need a lot of secondary help. And again, with our 7th pick at 88 overall, I go back to Penn State and get Tyree Castro-Fields, cornerback. He's from Upper Marlboro, Maryland. 6 foot, 194. He was a 4-star recruit. A long, strong cornerback with track speed. He's good in press. He's good in zone. And he's strong at the catch point, to defend the ball or take it away. This guy is flirted with being a top 10 prospect in this draft. Like I forgot to mention before, Jermaine Waller is a top 10 prospect in the draft. Castro-Fields has flirted with it. Some places have him as high as 3rd. Like Castro as high as the 3rd corner in this draft. Now, I don't agree with that, but some do. And I still think he makes it here somewhere in the 4th round. And if he is, we should definitely pull the trigger. He's like I said, he's a long, strong cornerback with track speed. Just a great, solid local player that would really help beef up the secondary. Him and Waller with St. Juice, that's the future. We'll be great for a long time. Then again, some more draft moves here. Trading 96 and 2023's 7th to the Titans for 133, 140, 173, and their 2023 5th. And then I trade the 108, the 108th pick to the Bengals for 136, 159, 187, 237. I'm just talking about all this to give you guys context that I actually did go through the draft, the draft thing. This isn't just me pulling these pick numbers and everything out of my butt here. This is actually, I went through the PFN mock draft simulator and actually had to do these trades. So these were trades that are offered too. I didn't propose any of these. It was just, you get trade requests. Anyway, so with our 8th pick 120, finally moving out west a little bit to Texas A&M, senior Tyree Johnson, defensive end, grab some more defensive end talent. 6'5", he's only 240 pounds. He's from DC. He was a 4-star recruit. He's just a fast, explosive edge rusher. He's a little undersized, speedy guy. Maybe a little bit like Shaka Toney from last year. But he's just one off towards the end of the season here. I want to say he's somewhere up around 8 sacks, maybe 8.5. Like, this guy's been going off. And maybe because of his size, I think he'll be a lot like Shaka Toney. And he'll slide down the draft. But because of his production, it'll keep him still at a respectable level. That's why I have him here at 120. And like I said, DC guy, speedy edge rusher. We could definitely plug him into the bandit position, maybe like a Sam linebacker. Be a great pickup here. Strengthen up that D line. Get some real solid pass rushers behind Chase and Montez, especially with Chase's injury. Now, I know everybody was going to be crying for a quarterback in this draft. And I had to cheat a bit because we just don't put out a lot of quarterbacks. And with our 9th pick, not sure what number it is. I don't have, but Hendon Hooker. He used to be Virginia Tech's quarterback. 6'4", 218 pounds. I would have loved to go on with Grayson McCall, but he's just not from here. He never played here either. And while Hooker's not from here, and he no longer plays here, he was Virginia Tech's quarterback for 3 seasons, but he's looking great since he transferred to Tennessee. He's taken a big step up as far as the passer this season. And I think he looks better from a passer and decision-making standpoint, an accuracy standpoint, than Desmond Ridder. And I think they're both very similar as runners. You know, Hooker might have a tiny bit less arm, but I think he's got a lot more potential. Like, people are hyping Desmond Ridder up. I think Hendon Hooker has all the potential he does and more. Hooker's play style actually reminds me of a young Donovan McNabb. Like, he's like a powerful runner, but, you know, he's all about passing the ball first and foremost. And I think, you know, he would be a great pickup here. This is a guy I really think could develop into a franchise quarterback. Moving on. I got a lot of picks here to help stock up the D-line and the linebacking core. Well, first off, our 10th pick, 133, from Clemson, Sheridan Jones, cornerback. He's from Norfolk, Virginia, 6 foot, 185, 4-star recruit. He's a speedy cornerback with good mirroring skills. He can test catches, and he can stick with wide receivers deep downfield. He's got all the speed for that. I think, you know, even with the good size he has and all that, I think he could be a solid nickel corner with his mirroring skills. So, Sheridan Jones from Clemson, if, you know, later on, day, you know, 2 or 3 is definitely got, well, day 3, this is definitely a guy, if he's still there, we should definitely bring home. And then with our 11th pick 136, again, from Maryland, we got Jalen Duncan, offensive tackle, 6'6", 315. He's from Owing Mills, Maryland. He's a 4-star recruit, strong, athletic offensive tackle, great balance, good agility, mirroring, good at blocking in space. He's got a good anchor. There are some flexibility concerns, but the fact that he's a knot and that, that with him being a not finished product should cause him to slide, even with all the potential he has, and that would be great for us because I feel like developing offensive linemen is something we do well, and Jalen Duncan is definitely a player that has a lot of potential. Then on to 12, our 12th pick at 140, Kentucky defensive lineman Josh Paschal, 6'3", 278 pounds, from PG County, Maryland. He's a 4-star recruit. Got a big PG County 301 tattoo on his left arm. Dude's heart is definitely in the DMV, and he's a destructive force on the D-line. We got a high-end guy to strengthen up the line with Arnold, but some solid local depth. Like, this is a guy that's actually, he could be like a good backup for Jonathan Allen. Like, Jonathan Allen's kind of dropped some weight down. They kind of have like a similar body now, even at 278. Like, Jonathan Allen's dropped a lot of weight, and he's slim and he's wrecking shop. This is a guy that could, definitely learn a lot from him and do the same kind of thing. Then, like I said, our linebacking core is in rough shape. So, 13th pick, 159 overall, back to Penn State. Bring our guys back. Ellis Brooks, linebacker, 6'1", 241, from Mechanicsville, Virginia, 4-star recruit. He's an absolute tackling machine. Like I said, reclaiming another local player from Penn State. And at this point, I think if we picked up all these guys, like, Penn State might actually be blowing Bama and Virginia Tech out of the water with the most players on the roster. I don't know. Virginia Tech's kind of going to be teetering back and forth with this draft. So on to 14. This is actually a linebacker I like a bit better at 166 overall, from Buffalo, senior Kadofi Wright. He's from Richmond, Virginia. He's 6'3", 230 pounds. He's a former high school quarterback that, like I said, uses that experience to read those opposing quarterbacks. And he's a skilled coverage linebacker. A guy will be able to get late that would make a huge difference in one of our biggest weaknesses. Like I said, coverage to the linebacker area is something we definitely struggle with, and Kadofi Wright shines there. I mean, he's going to need, some help building up in other areas. I mean, he's solid in the run, but where he really shines is in coverage, and that's where we need him. And that's where you get players late like this. He's a homer. He's the guy I really like in this draft. I would take him much higher if I thought, we didn't have, that we couldn't get him here. If I thought I had to take Kadofi Wright in the 3rd round, I would. It's just the way the draft board is, I feel comfortable that we could get him here. With our 15th pick at 173, from Virginia Tech, transferred from Clemson, defensive tackle Jordan Williams. He's only 6'2", 285. He was a 4-star recruit. He's a solid all-around, defensive tackle, mostly run stopping, but he has some pass rushing upside. And at this point, we're just getting talented depth to try out there. We had another trade here. Traded 187 to the Chargers for 216 and 220 because I realized there was still a lot of local talent out there that we could pick up. So, 16th pick, 216 from Virginia. Noah Taylor, linebacker, 6'5", 235, from Bethesda, Maryland. He was a 3-star recruit. speedy, undersized edge rusher that's also solid in coverage. He's got skills a lot like Charles Snowden from last draft, who actually went undrafted. I think he's the kind of player that could be a good bandit or a blitzing Sam linebacker, but he's a great athlete and would be a great pickup here. And then with our 17th pick at 220, another Penn State guy, PJ Mustipher, defensive tackle, 6'4", 226 pounds from Owing Mills, Maryland, 4-star recruit, big, strong, monster defensive tackle. He's a skilled wrestler that knows how to get offensive linemen out of the way. Just, like a bull in a china shop. He eats up blocks. Great value down here. Local guy. Love to have him. And another Texas A&M player. Aaron Hainsford, linebacker. He's 6'3", 240 pounds. He's from D.C. He was a 4-star recruit. Quick, athletic linebacker. He was a wide receiver coming out of high school. He's good in man and zone coverage. He's a great coverage linebacker. That's what we'll be looking for here in the later round. I mean, we got kind of a run stuffer, tackling machine with Ellis Brooks, but with Kadofi, Wright, and Aaron Hainsford, those are our coverage linebackers that definitely have all the potential to develop into more, but at the very least, they help us in an area we need a lot of help in. And that's our last pick in the draft. But like I said at the beginning, I got some priority undrafted free agents here. So I'm going to start out with some offensive weapons from Virginia Tech. Wide receiver Tavion Robinson. He's from Virginia Beach, Virginia. He's a 4-star recruit. Great agility, vision, balance. Got good speed. He's a good wide receiver. He's good at carrying sweeps, which are a big part of our offense. And he's a solid kick return. So Tavion Robinson is definitely a guy we should call up after the draft. And then a running back from Minnesota, Muhammad Ibrahim. 5'10", 210 pounds. He's from Olney, Maryland. He was a 3-star recruit. He's got good size, good vision. He's got good cuts. He's got good contact balance, which I think is very important. And he's a strong runner. So, be really nice to add. Then from Virginia Tech, James Mitchell, tight end. He's 6'3", 242 pounds. From Stone Gap, Virginia, 4-star. He's an athletic receiving tight end with a big catch radius. More of like a jumbo wide receiver, but really good at it. So definitely he would be a great pickup, kind of a change of pace from what we have at tight end now. And then from Florida Atlantic, previously from Notre Dame of Ohio, I think it was. Zaire Mitchell, 6'6", 267 pounds. Tight end from Rockville, Maryland. Big, strong tight end with good movement, solid blocking. When he gets a ball in his hands, this is a guy that can actually take off, even at that size. So, just be a great guy to pick up. Like I said, from Rockville, Maryland. And some other guys here. We got some extra beef for the O-line from Virginia Tech. We got Luke Tanutta, 6'7", 315 pounds. I think he could make it undrafted. If not, we should look at him in the draft. He's actually got great movement to go along with his length. He's got good short area quickness. He might get drafted, but if not, he definitely has the traits that we should look to develop. And Should definitely be a high priority free agent signing. Then we got Andrew Vastardis from Michigan. Center, 6'3", 294 pounds, from Ashburn, Virginia. He's a quick and agile center. He's a smart player that understands how to do his job. He just needs to add some weight and strength. You know, he's a long shot, you know, to being an NFL starter. But it couldn't hurt to give a guy, you know, in your own backyard a shot. Hell, his family is a stone's throw away from the practice field. So, at the very least, he doesn't have far to go home if he doesn't make the team. Then from Kentucky, we got Nasir Watkins, offensive tackle. I think he'll be more of an offensive guard in the NFL. He's 6'5", 304 pounds, from Bowie, Maryland. Former tight end. He's athletic. He's a good mover. Like I said, he projects better as a guard. He was kind of pushed down a solid offensive line at Kentucky, and then some trouble kept him off the field. He's a good player with a lot of like physical tools that just need development. He hasn't had the chance to like have them develop on the field. So something we could definitely look into. Somebody that won't cost anything. Just bring him in, work him out, see what he's got. Like I said, linebacker, not good for us. So more linebacker help. We got another Buffalo linebacker here, James Patterson, 6 foot. I'm sorry, 235 pounds, 3-star recruit. Yep, it's Jarrett's brother. It's our running back's brother, who also won undrafted. Can't draft one without the other, but pick them both up undrafted so they don't get jealous. Good all-around linebacker. You know, he's lacking a little bit in his physical profile, but he's smart. He's got a high motor, and he's rarely out of position. Definitely bring him in, have a look. From NC State, Isaiah Moore was a guy I thought could be a good prospect, but I found out right before I started recording that he's actually going back for another year, so wah, wah. And then from Rutgers, we have Tyshawn Fogg, linebacker, 6'2", 245, from Towson, Maryland. 3-star recruit, solid all-around linebacker with decent speed. He's got good pop when he tackles, solid in coverage, you know, lots of hustle. He's good coming downhill to stop the run. Would be a good prospect to bring in, have a look at. Then we got more D-line depth here. Curtis Brooks from Cincinnati, 6'2", 285 pounds, from Danville, Virginia. Goes to Cincinnati. He's from Danville, Virginia. He was only a 2-star recruit. This is actually a guy I would swap out for Jordan Williams in the draft that I said earlier. They're both smaller interior defensive linemen, but I think Brooks has more explosiveness and pass rushing upside. He has more of that than Williams, so I'd maybe swap them out. We'll see all with the testing too. The testing is going to make a big difference in all these players, where they go, and if we can even think about getting certain people in the second or third round or not. But Curtis Brooks, like I said, I'd probably swap him with Jordan Williams in the draft here, but regardless, got him out there. Definitely a prospect we should have a look at. And then Penn State transfer to Marshall, Shane Simmons, defensive end, 6'4", 245, from Laurel, Maryland. 4-star. Like I said, another guy that ended up in Penn State, but it was a crowded defense, and he decided to transfer to Marshall. He didn't set the world on fire there this year, but he's got great physical traits to build on. He's long and he's quick. He's definitely worth picking up for free. If he goes undrafted, definitely call this guy and have a look at him. Now I got two guys that I think, personally, I think are high-end talents that they'll probably go undrafted. I'm sure of it because of they've had issues. First off, he was from Alabama. He was a 5-star recruit to Alabama. Ayabi Anoma, outside linebacker, 6'5", 240 pounds from Baltimore. So we're going to have to fight the Ravens for this guy probably. He got kicked out of Bama and Houston for skipping class. But he was the 4th overall recruit in the nation. He's a physical freak of nature that just didn't vibe with college very well outside of football. I think a chance to play football close to home could be all the motivation he needs to tap into all that raw potential that he started out with. This is the kind of athlete that could play that bandit role I was talking about. And honestly, if you look at him athletically, like he matches up very well with Adam Anderson from Georgia, who's going to be a first-round pick. It's just this guy needs a good talking to and another chance is what he needs. And yeah, Ayabi Anoma should definitely be somebody we call and at least see where his head's at. See if he, wants a chance in the NFL. See if he's ready to work. And another guy that had a discipline problem, Ohio State University senior Kayvon Pope, linebacker, 6'1", 226, from Dinwiddie, Virginia. Never heard of it. All my family's from Virginia. Never heard of Dinwiddie, but Dinwiddie, Virginia. But he was a 4-star recruit, all-around athletic linebacker, buried on Ohio's defense, and he's finally getting some playing time this year. And when they went to set him down, he blew up and walked off the field at halftime and tweeted, fuck Ohio State. Now, he's a young man. He let his emotions get the best of him. And he said as much in his apology. And I just think he's got a lot of physical tools. Everybody deserves a second chance. It wasn't even that serious. He was just mad. Walked out. They were benching him anyway, so it's not like he left them hanging like everybody would like to make it sound like. And it'd be another good dart throw at the linebacker position we definitely need a lot of help in. So there it is, my huge local talent extravaganza mock draft. Let me know what you think below. Did you know we had all that talent coming out of the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area? Who would you most like to see on the team? Do you even care about the local talent? Let me know down below. You guys watch this long, I definitely love you. And peace.